During the height of the Cold War, governments told people to dig deep, pour concrete, and pray it would be enough. Across America, families turned their backyards into bunkers, filling them with canned beans, Geiger counters, and government-issued manuals on how to survive nuclear fallout. But here's what history forgot to mention. Many of those bunkers failed. They flooded, they overheated, and some even became death traps. Meanwhile, a few quiet innovators stumbled onto a survival technique so effective it didn't even need a bunker. It wasn't about digging deeper or spending more, it was about working smarter. This Cold War trick beat the standard shelter designs of its day and still stands as one of the most practical, low-cost and enduring survival systems ever created. And, well, it just might be the secret modern preppers have been missing. The Cold War forced ordinary citizens to outthink disaster. By the late 1950s, nuclear fear had spread across the world. Governments ran public service announcements showing families ducking under tables, as if that would save them from a hydrogen bomb. Fallout shelter blueprints were handed out freely, but most people couldn't afford to follow them. Concrete was expensive, rebar was scarce, and ventilation systems required power that might not exist after an attack. That's when independent thinkers, farmers, engineers, and off-grid enthusiasts began to question the logic. Why trap yourself underground in an airless box when the problem wasn't just blast shock, but heat, radiation, and long-term survival? The smartest survivors realized that you didn't need a sealed shelter at all. You needed protection that used nature as your shield. This thinking gave birth to one of the most overlooked Cold War innovations, the earth-bermed living system. It wasn't technically a bunker. It was a self-regulating environment built into the earth that could sustain life, protect against radiation, and maintain breathable air indefinitely. The trick wasn't a structure. It was a system based on the Earth's physics. Instead of relying on steel or concrete, these survivalists turned to the ground itself. They built partially underground dwellings, sometimes carved into hillsides, other times surrounded by thick walls of soil. The key insight was that Earth was nature's perfect insulator and radiation barrier. 3 feet of compacted soil could block almost all gamma radiation, absorb heat, and maintain a stable interior temperature year-round. The builders didn't just stop there. They noticed something fascinating: underground spaces with proper airflow stayed cool and dry, while sealed bunkers grew toxic. So they developed a system of passive air circulation, simple intake and exhaust vents that used convection to move air naturally without fans or electricity. This innovation kept air fresh while filtering fallout dust through cloth or charcoal layers. To put this into practice today, you don't need a complex shelter. Start by carving a shallow depression, around 4 to 5 feet deep, and reinforce it with timber, stone, or sandbags. Create a sloped entrance on one end and an exit vent on the other, running pipes or ducts at opposite heights to establish natural airflow. Cover the top with wood beams or metal sheets and layer it with 2 to 3 feet of compacted soil. This structure won't look like a bunker. It'll blend seamlessly with the terrain, staying hidden, quiet, and thermally stable. Concrete bunkers were supposed to be impenetrable, but honestly, they were flawed by design. They trapped heat and moisture, creating condensation that destroyed food stores and rusted metal. The air inside would quickly turn stale, and temperatures swung wildly. and when radiation particles settled on the exterior, the structure itself became contaminated. In contrast, the earth-bermed system solved all those issues by working with the environment instead of against it. The soil absorbed radiation, diffused heat, and even muffled sound. The living space inside maintained an even temperature between 55 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which made it ideal not only for survival, but for long-term storage of food and supplies. In later tests conducted by civil defense researchers, these semi-underground structures actually outperformed steel bunkers in maintaining livable conditions over time. What's even more impressive is how adaptable this design was. In the American Midwest, farmers repurposed old root cellars. Over in Eastern Europe, villagers dug reinforced earthen shelters that doubled as animal pens or pantries during peacetime. These practical uses kept the shelters maintained and functional without wasting resources on unused bunkers. Another forgotten trick was how they handled water. Many early bunkers failed because rainwater leaked through cracks, but earth-bermed builders solved this with layered earth engineering, a method thousands of years old. They built roofs and walls using alternating layers of soil, gravel and clay, which naturally drained water away instead of absorbing it. Clay acted as a waterproof membrane, while gravel let excess moisture run off. This technique still works today. If you're building an off-grid shelter or storage pit, start by layering your roof and upper walls with 4 inches of clay-rich soil, topped with coarse gravel, and then a final layer of compacted dirt or turf. This not only prevents leaks but also increases insulation and strengthens the structure over time. Many Cold War shelters built this way remain dry and stable even after half a century. What made this method revolutionary was that it didn't depend on government plans, blueprints or technology. It was a self-reliant approach that anyone could replicate. These earth-integrated shelters could be built with materials found almost anywhere: soil, wood, gravel, and a few basic hand tools. In fact, some families in rural Montana and Wales built entire underground homes using these principles, living comfortably off-grid for decades. Even modern eco-builders have revived the concept under new names, like earth-sheltered homes and earth-bermed survival architecture. The same Cold War logic, stability, insulation, self-regulation, is now being used in sustainable housing across the world. You know, when combined with solar energy, water collection and natural ventilation, the system provides everything a prepper or homesteader needs to remain independent for months or even years. The Cold War's earth-bermed system wasn't flashy, but it outlasted nearly every other survival design of its time. It taught a crucial lesson. True preparedness doesn't come from fear or money, but from understanding how to work with nature. By letting the earth do most of the work, these structures offered protection, privacy and peace of mind long after the political tension faded. If you apply these same principles today, you can create durable, low-cost protection that doubles as a root cellar, a cool-weather workspace, or an emergency retreat. You don't need reinforced concrete or buried steel doors. You just need the wisdom of those who figured it out long before technology complicated everything. This is why you don't need a modern shelter. You need Cold War wisdom. When we look back, it's easy to mock the paranoia of the 1950s, but beneath that fear was something remarkable. Innovation born from necessity. The people who survived didn't do so by hiding in bunkers. They did it by understanding how to live with the land. Their designs were quiet, efficient, and nearly indestructible. And in a time when self-reliance is once again becoming vital, their methods may just be the key to surviving whatever comes next. So before you pour concrete for a modern bunker, take a lesson from the Cold War's forgotten engineers. Let the earth protect you. Let simplicity do the heavy lifting. The best defense has always been the one that lasts, and this trick still does. If you found this breakdown of Cold War survival ingenuity valuable, subscribe to In the Beginning and share this with fellow history and survival enthusiasts. The old ways still work, and sometimes they work better than anything new.